Assalamualaikum. My name is Amna Malik and I will be talking about quality function deployment. Starting with the definition, the term was invented by Yoji Akao in Japan in 1966. By definition, quality function deployment is a method to transform user demand into design quality, to deploy the functions forming quality, and to deploy methods for achieving the design quality into subsystems and component parts, and ultimately to specific elements of the manufacturing process. Now, what that means is that it is a method to developing a design that aims to satisfy what the customer wants and to translate those customer needs and requirements into the actual design of the product, into the actual manufacturing process and the designing process of the product. It assures that the requirements of the customer, the quality that the customer wants, is actually incorporated in the design phase. Now it also it hears and values and listens to the voice of the customer and translates it into the design, as I've said. It has two components. Quality function deployment has two components, namely the quality deployment component and the function deployment component. What the quality deployment component does is that it hears the customer's voice and it translates the customer needs and it takes it to the designing of the product. So it designs the product according to what quality or what requirement the customers have. And there's the function deployment component that makes sure that the requirements that the customers have are matched with what the product can actually provide. How the functions and units and the component and the capabilities of the form of the product can meet what the customer wants. We move on to the 4 phases of QFD. The first one being product concept planning. This is a phase where you start with customer and market research and then you come up with a product plan, you come up with the design and the concept and the ideas for the product. Then there is the product development specification stage where you design prototypes and you conduct a lot of tests to come up with the suitable design, keeping in mind the concept and your research or your insights. Then there is the manufacturing process and production tools. This is the part where the product and the components specifications are designed according to the insights you gain from the research. And the final stage is the production of product stage, where you see what you take the product into the manufacturing phase after you're done with the pilot study. Okay, now we're coming to the house of quality. So, house of quality is basically a structure that quality function deployment uses to organize all the information that it has. So, it is basically a diagram that looks like a house, and it basically it shows the relationship between what's and hows. So by definition, it is quality. House of quality is part of the QFD process that uses a matrix to relate customer wants and how the firm will meet those wants. It basically shows the relationship between what the customer needs, what the product features are, and also what the competitor is offering. So that you know that this is what the customer wants, this is what I am offering, and this is what is being already offered in the market. So we take a closer look at an example for a product called rock climbing harness, and here is the diagram for the matrix, and it shows that on the left side of it shows the customer requirements, such as a rock climbing harness. A customer would want it to be easy to put on, comfortable when hanging, fits over different clothes, accessible, lightweight, safe, and attractive. This is what the customer would generally want in a rock climbing harness. Then the second part is how the customer prioritizes these different requirements. What is the most important feature that a customer would want in a harness? So here they are rating each of the requirements regarding how they would want each of these, how important each of these requirements are for the customer. Then the third phase is the hows. The hows talk about how is the company or the product going to meet what the customer wants? So we have three components here, basically talking about the technical details, the size of the range, and the performance measure, where we talk about the meeting European standards, the weight of the harness, the variety of colors and sizes that you will be offering, the number of buckles that it will have, and the gear loops. So, okay, we've talked about the house. Now, the fourth stage is the relationship, that is the middle part of it, and it shows the relationship between what's and how's, what the customer wants and how are you going to give it to them. Now, you show the relationship by these three symbols. The first one being a red circle, which shows a strong interrelationship between the two. A medium interrelationship is shown by a blue square, and a weak interrelationship is being shown by a green triangle. So, for example, the first one is safety. Now, this is a strong relationship between safety of the harness providing safety, and the product meeting European standards. If your product meets European standards, it would mean that it caters to the requirement of the safety component that the customer wants. Now, the second one is a medium interrelationship, which can be shown by safety and the harness weight. The safety and harness weight are not that important, or you could say that it doesn't really matter if the harness weighs too much or too less when you look at safety. And the third one is a weak interrelationship, which can be shown by the harness weight and attractiveness here. If the harness weighs too much or too little, it has a weak relationship with the attractiveness or the look of it. Okay, then we talk about the competitor rating. Now, when you're looking at the house of quality, you also need to keep in mind what competitors are offering in the market. So we have these two columns showing competitor A's product and competitor B's product, and then you rate those products. You rate those competitors' products with what they are offering to the customer. So with each of the requirements. Then the next stage is action notes, where you see these topics: improvement factor, the sales point, and the plan rating, and all of that. So where your competitors rank as compared to you. Then we have the ranking the house stage. Now, in ranking the house, you see that the components that you are offering to the consumer, how important are they for you? How important is meeting European standards for you? How important is it for you to give them a variety of colors and sizes? And how important it is for you, for the product to have, how important are the number of buckles or the number of gear loops in your product? So you measure the importance of the house. You rank the house according to how important they are to you. And the final thing is the correlation. The correlation between the house, like the components that you are offering to them, how they correlate. Now, we show these by a plus sign, which shows a positive relationship, and a negative sign that shows a negative relationship. This plus sign here shows that there is a positive relationship between meeting European standards and the strength of the harness. And also, there is a negative relationship between the harness weight and the harness strength. So, if you look here, we have on the top, we have a positive relationship between meeting European standards and the number of buckles, and there's a negative relationship between the harness weight and the number of buckles. So that's how you show that. That is the final stage. Moving on, we come to the conclusion. We know that quality function deployment is a customer-driven process that gives you a competitive advantage. It gives you an edge where you know what the customer wants, and then you try to produce that. It supports the organization's design process, and it obviously saves unnecessary costs when you don't waste time and energy and resources producing what you don't know if the customer would want or not. So you conduct an in-depth research, customer survey, and then you design the product according to the customer's needs. So quality function deployment is a very effective tool for organizations. Thank you.